You think you're indecisive, emotional, overreacting, but what if what you call anxiety is actually intuition that's been ignored too many times? We like to think we're logical, that our decisions are shaped by data, by reason, by careful consideration. But most of the time, they're shaped by what we're afraid to admit we already know. Real intuition doesn't scream, it whispers, once, twice, and then it withdraws. Not because it gives up, but because you do. You dismiss it, you overthink it, you silence it with advice from people who don't even live the life you're building. And then you end up somewhere you never wanted to be, in a relationship your body warned you about, in a job that looked right on paper but drained your soul, saying yes when everything inside you already knew the answer was no. That feeling in your chest, that tightness in your stomach, that heaviness in your jaw, that was your body asking you to listen. Neuroscientist Antonio Damasio found that gut feelings, the ones you try to logic away, are real neurological signals. They're not mystical. They're based on patterns your body has remembered long before your conscious mind caught up. "We are not thinking machines," he wrote. "We are feeling machines that think." And yet, in a culture that idolizes proof, we've learned to distrust our own signal. We confuse fear with instinct, doubt with intelligence, logic with safety. We forget that sometimes our discomfort is information, that hesitation can be holy, that your body remembers everything your mind rationalized away, because you were trained, maybe gently, maybe violently, to override yourself, to sit through conversations that made your skin crawl, to say yes to people who didn't feel safe, to smile through moments that felt off because you didn't want to make it awkward. And so the message got distorted, not because your intuition failed, but because you stopped recognizing it as valid. Most people don't ignore their intuition because they don't feel it. They ignore it because they don't trust themselves. But trust doesn't arrive from nowhere. It's built through listening, through paying attention, through noticing how many times you were right long before you had the proof. Your intuition is not a magical superpower, it's a biological language. And the more you respond, the more it speaks. So how do you start hearing it again? You get quiet, you pause before reacting, you breathe before answering. You watch your body when something's offered. Does it open or close? Does it lean in or flinch? You stop outsourcing your knowing to people who haven't earned your vulnerability. You stop asking for permission to listen to your own signal. You learn to notice the difference between urgency and clarity. Urgency feels like panic, like something will be lost if you don't decide now. Clarity feels like stillness, like something true is waiting underneath the noise. Carl Jung called intuition perception via the unconscious. It's not the opposite of reason. It's what reason can't yet explain. Sometimes your logic is just your trauma dressed up in bullet points. And sometimes your intuition sounds like silence because you've been too loud to hear it. This isn't about rejecting reason. It's about integrating it. You don't need to burn your plans. You just need to stop betraying your hunches. You've spent years being told to calm down, to be reasonable, to explain yourself. But your intuition isn't interested in justifying itself. It only asks, does this feel like truth? Does this feel like safety? Does this feel like peace? And if the answer is no, you don't need a better explanation. You need a better exit. Sometimes the most powerful decision you'll make is the one that makes no sense to anyone but your nervous system. And here's the truth no one tells you. Your intuition is always speaking, but it's not always comfortable. Sometimes it tells you to walk away from someone you still love, to quit something that looks stable, to start again when everyone else is settling. Sometimes it asks you to let go before you understand why. And that's where trust begins. Not in clarity, but in action. You're not crazy. You're not dramatic. You're not being difficult. You're finally decoding the signal. And every time you follow it, the voice gets louder. Every time you override it, the distance grows. You don't need to be a different person. You just need to become someone who listens. Because the truth is, you've always known. Not in words, but in weight. Not in thought, but in temperature. Not in logic, but in your spine. The world taught you to prove everything, but your body just wants to feel safe. So give yourself permission to act on what you can't explain yet. You don't need a new life. You need to stop arguing with the one voice that's never lied to you. And that voice is already waiting, not with instructions, but with orientation. You'll know when you found it. It's the part of you that doesn't rush, that doesn't beg, that doesn't pretend. It waits quietly. And when you finally hear it, you'll wonder how you ever lived without it. That's not magic. That's memory. And maybe that's what being wise really means.